I have to start with this. The Trae Young's rise is wonderful for the NBA. Not only is his game great, but his personality, his edge. All right, you're either going to love him or you're going to hate him. And either way, that's great for the basketball world. He's either a villain or a hero, and that's awesome. So it's huge. However, he's only one of a few young players that's emerging this postseason. We got Devin Booker. We got Donovan Mitchell. We even got Ja Morant and DeAndre Ayton. So they're showing that the game will be in good hands when LeBron and that generation kind of passes it on. But as big as Trae has been, it's obvious, Philly. I'll be surprised if anybody on this panel disagrees. Philadelphia, because we are talking about the end of the process as we know it. At least that should be the goal. Now, if I'm Daryl Morey, I am trying my best to trade Ben Simmons for a point guard or playmaker who's a star. Now, that's easier said than done. I'm not just giving him away, but I am trying to get to upgrade at that position to somebody that will shoot the basketball. Because in today's NBA, it's not the 80s, not the 90s. The game is not all played in the paint. Today's NBA, you have to be able to shoot the basketball. And obviously Ben's got his issues there. So while I'm trying to move him, I have him locked in the gymnasium with the shooting coach. And I think he's already seen a sports psychologist, but he definitely and he admitted it after the game, he needs to work on his mental. So you got to get him working with somebody on sports psychology because he clearly just did not want to shoot. He passed up that layup at the end of the game.
Right.
And Doc Rivers, I would not fire Doc, but it's got to be a discussion. I hate to get rid of a coach after 1 year, and I wouldn't do it.
So soon?
But it's got to be a discussion because they look just like they did with Brett Brown. They mentally weak, in the clutch, bad decision-making, turnovers. That's just how they've looked the previous 3 years under Brett Brown, and Brett got crushed for it. Now, again, I wouldn't do it, but I'd be surprised if they don't have a discussion about it because this is just the latest amount of evidence for Doc failing in these situations. And so that could happen. I didn't think Stan Van Gundy would get fired after a year. I think the guy in Indiana fired after a year. I mean, that seems to be the trend. So I'd be surprised if it happens, but it's got to be a discussion. So those are the types of serious ramifications that we're talking about with Philadelphia.
But listen, let's give Doc some credit. You know, it's not like look at the how this team elevated over, this shortened off season. So he has a lot to do with that. And even Embiid, yes, he's a great player. But this year he was dominant and he should have won MVP if he didn't go down as many times as he did. So you got to give Doc some credit there. But on the other end, I lost a little bit of respect for Doc because I don't like how he talked about Ben Simmons after that Game 7. Just 2 weeks ago, right, you were defending him. So what changed? Why is your energy changing now, right? Because people are throwing stones at you? No, be the coach that you've been your entire career. Be the person that everybody in the NBA loves. So when it's tough and people are throwing stones at you, don't start deflecting. You take it on. You say that's on me. So I don't like that when it comes to Doc. I still think it's a little too soon. I don't think you had that discussion because of the progress this team made. Now, if Ben stood up and did what he was supposed to do on the offensive end, we're talking about a guy that, he should be able to give you 15, 19 points a night, and he didn't do that consistently throughout the playoffs. This would be a different discussion. Now, when we talk about what's the bigger deal, Trae Young and the Hawks or the Sixers' second-round exit, I got to go with the Hawks. Now, this is tough to do going out on this limb, but when you think about this, you got Lloyd Pierce, who was there for 3 years, won 63 games and lost 120. Now, when he was fired at the beginning of March, Nate McMillan took over. This was a 12-year vet, played point guard in the NBA. He understood the game from an IQ standpoint at a high level. Since then, they're 35-15. We didn't talk about the Hawks all year. We were talking about the Sixers.
Right.
We were talking about the Nets. We were talking about Giannis and the Bucks. We missed this, guys. This isn't a hot team. This isn't a team who's overperforming. This is a really good team. So we got to highlight that. So to me, the bigger story is Trae Young and the emergence of the Hawks. This is a really good team, Nick.
Well, listen, in Trae, one of the best playoff debuts we've seen. He's averaging 29 and 10. He's led a team that doesn't have another guy on the team that's even close to an all-star to now the conference finals. And so I give Trae massive credit. With that said, what Broussard said is right. This is the end of the process. If Joel Embiid was drafted to start the process, it has now come and gone, and Philly didn't make a conference finals. In that time, Cleveland made 4, Toronto made 2, Boston made 3, Milwaukee made 2, Atlanta made 2, Miami made 1, Philly can't get out of round 2. And Wilds, if I would have told my dear friend Daryl Morey before the year, here's the deal. You guys are going to be able to win the title this year under these circumstances. You will never have to play LeBron James or Anthony Davis. You will never have to play Steph Curry, Dame Lillard, or Nikola Jokic. Probably won't have to play Kawhi. And oh yeah, by the way, you'll never have to play KD, Harden, Kyrie. You can win the title without playing any of those guys. And by the way, in a series that you're leading 2-1, you are going to be up 18 in the second half. And then in a series you're tied 2-2, you're going to be at home up 26 in the second half. And somehow in that same series, you're going to be in a game 7 at home where the opposing team's best player goes 5 of 23, and their second best player, obviously, arguably Bogdanovich, is injured. And by the what about our best guy? Embiid? Oh, he's great the whole time. He has one bad game. But other than that, he's averaging around 30 points, playing through stuff. Okay, sign me up, please. Give me a title. And your one injury is Danny Green. And instead, Ben just regressed to the worst version of himself. Now, do I think, in fairness to Ben, that if you take the 15 best players in the league, Embiid and Giannis are the 2 worst fits for Ben? I do. But 0 shot attempts in the fourth quarter can't happen. Doesn't happen if you're PJ Tucker. Didn't happen for Andre Roberson. It can't happen when you're the guy with the ball in your hands. And if you're Doc, at some point it's got to be about, we got to get through this game. We'll deal with everything after. Like, you needed to take Ben off the court. As good as he was on Trae, you need to take him off the court because he was lost in the moment. Reset in the next round. Say, however you're going to do it. Yep. They didn't. And now this is, to me, one of the most shocking 4 games, games 4, 5, 6, 7 of this series that I can ever remember. For Philly to have it right there for them and then blow it. It's unbelievable.
Yeah. So for me, my sort of anger at Ben Simmons for not shooting has subsided substantially, Broussard. Now I'm just kind of sad because I feel like we're watching a guy fail at the highest level and not reach his potential, and I think everyone should be empathetic to that. And we saw a little bit with Markelle Fultz, where people were angry at him being a high draft pick, and it's like, oh no, there's something else going on, and then all of sort of sports started rooting for Markelle Fultz. And for Markelle Fultz to sort of get better, he had to leave, and I think the same thing has to happen to Ben Simmons. I don't know where he goes. I do think in the short term he should play for Australia and be like, you know what? I'm going to shoot a lot here. I'm on a big stage. It's a real game. I only think there's a ceiling to what you can do in the gym by yourself because I don't think that's the issue. Maybe he's shooting with the wrong hand and maybe you can work on that. But I think he needs the pressure of a big-time showcase. But I'm going to throw it to you. You said, I would move Ben Simmons. Easier said than done. Where are you going? Is it CJ? I know that's out there. But earlier this year it was Harden, and that was kicked around. Well, CJ's not Harden. And if Portland doesn't want to do it, I don't know what your other options are. Is it who are you trying to unload $30 million at? The matchup there. Porzingis? Give me some ideas of what this trade looks like. Zach LaVine? Yeah, maybe.
Yeah, no, I mean, obviously, you talk about a fit. He wouldn't be a fit with Luka at all. So CJ McCollum makes some sense. As good as CJ is, I try to get better, but CJ is a bona fide 20-point scorer. If CJ had played most of his career in the East, he's probably made a couple All-Star teams. So that's not a bad, guy to go get to team with Embiid. I'd look at it seriously. It's just, hopefully, Ben, I heard his press conference. He took all the responsibility on himself, even though we didn't see that in our quote. So hopefully he just learns from this and will start to work harder than he has so far.
And also, we're talking about the Sixers setback. Another person that we haven't talked about, and we need to, is Tobias Harris. The last thing you want to be in any pickup game in America or around the world is the guy that they call self-check. So when you think about their number 2 scorer, and you think about, what this organization did, stood up and paid this guy, I mean, how many times did we see him get, into the paint, on the elbow, high post, and do this little fadeaway and just come up short? We see KD, he is automatic from there. Even Giannis, that little turnaround, little hook shot that he do is automatic. And then you got Tobias Harris, who just keeps coming up short, play after play after play, or possession after possession after possession. So that's someone we need to talk about. So, yeah, Doc Rivers, he's the coach, and to start with him. Ben Simmons, we're talking about a guy who should be a superstar in this league. But why this team lost, you got to throw Tobias Harris a name in the hat too, Jenna.
Thanks for watching. Subscribe here to get the latest from the show. Also, be sure to check out more of the best clips from First Things First, or go watch a few segments from our other shows on FS1.